What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here, thanks for stopping by. Today's video we're going to go over some news that's going on in game right now. It's Monday for Plarium and it's going to be the end of the Thor fusion, but it's going to be the start of something equally as big, I guess. But yeah, let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so first things first, we got a little bit of a news drop in game. So if you guys are not aware, we have this news drop here and it's going to be the Thor Titan event. Of course, it's for his soul. We predicted this. I mean, this was probably somewhere around like 90% likely to happen because Thor is a champion that is really good, and having a Titan event for him would probably generate enough hype so that, you know, Plarium can get us to commit to a 3-week long Titan event for his soul. Obviously, a soul for Thor is going to be incredibly powerful. He does benefit from accuracy and all that stuff, and then obviously increase attack and then increase crit damage along the way. Hopefully this Titan event is not a, you know, kind of like an all or nothing type, where such as the champion Zinagir was back in January. Zinagir was basically 5-star soul for her or no soul. So hopefully the Thor Titan event allows you to build off of a two-star soul for him. So it will go like 2, 3, 4, 5. So it lets everybody have a little boost instead of just having everyone go all or nothing. So that's my hope for the Titan event. But this was honestly very expected. It's going to be actually only 2 weeks long. So they're going to set it up to happen in between the fusions. And then I guess after October 1st, it's going to be the next fusion, I guess. Potentially the Halloween fusion actually after the Thor Titan event. But it looks very, pretty standard. You're going to be getting hammer points, hammer time, hammer points. But yeah, we're going to be getting hammer points. Make sure you guys are aware of which events you guys are chasing for the hammer points, because obviously they'll be designated. We're getting standard BS rewards. And then they break down when the points will occur during the first week and then the second week, maximum 1750. And it says we need 1500. So this is a very standard one. All of them are always 1500 to max. And then there's going to be a little bit extra, right? So 250 will be extra hammer points. The one time that this didn't happen was for the Mikage Titan event. I believe the total Mikage points was higher, you required more of it, and it was only for a 4-star soul in the end. Also keep in mind that my guess is that most likely the Freya Deck of Fate event will likely be in this. It makes sense because there's usually a Deck of Fate event shoehorned into a Titan event, because a Deck of Fate is really nasty when you need certain things to come like basically as expected value from it. So for example, if you're looking for exactly 100 hammer points from a Deck of Fate, is extremely punishing if you don't have the resources to clear every single card. And I think shoehorning in the Freya Deck of Fate into the Thor Titan event is just going to be massive pain for players with no resources. And it's definitely going to create serious FOMO for players, and likely, obviously make them force them into a position where they either need to spend to get the rewards or they miss out on them. So definitely something to pay attention to, guys. Of course, that's all speculation on my part right now, but it totally makes sense to me. Also keep in mind that we have the calendar right now in Plarium Play. So far, no new events for the Titan event. Titan event will be occurring on the 17th, which is tomorrow. So expect a full lit up calendar, or at least mostly lit up calendar for the start of tomorrow. And that's when the Titan event will happen. But there's also something even crazier happening, because the Thor fusion is still ongoing. And actually, if you look at my account right now, I'm not actually done the Thor fusion. I have 3.5 days to complete it. I'm not worried because I still need some fragments remaining. I still need 50 fragments from the Diana epic before I can go and fuse Thor. And that is going to be coming from the 3rd summon rush right here. So this is the third summon rush that's going to happen. It's going to open tomorrow and it's going to lead up until near the end of the Thor fusion. It's your last chance at the 50 fragments. Don't expect Plarium to give you guys any kind of pack deals to pick up any fragments. So if you guys are out of luck for Thor, this is going to be your last kick at the can. And we got news that it's going to be a doozy of an event. So let me show you guys the details on that. So here are the event details. So on September 17th, we're launching an extra legendary event for Sacred Shards. You're already familiar with the mechanics. If you summon a legendary champion from one Sacred Shard during this event, you'll get a different extra one for the same shard. And then won't be charged silver and all that stuff. Last two days. And here's the big kicker, guys. Each day we have 10x boost on the following champions. So on day 1, we have Aislinn, the Stalwart, Feina, the Blade of Alrivia, Falman, Morn's Blade. So these are the faction unity champions from the different factions. So for the Bannerlords, we are looking at Aislinn here. Incredible champion, especially paired with Marichka and Taras, of course, but those two are just incredible by themselves. Anyways, guys, their kits are very dense and incredibly deep. It's just, yeah, definitely worth the read, but they're very, very strong. These champions are pretty exclusive because they basically only show up in pools that have them highlighted. So there's definitely a level of FOMO here, or at least, you know, presents an opportunity for people trying to go for these champions. So Aislinn here, he was the first faction unity champion. He was introduced in May. So it's only been about 4 months and they've introduced, I believe they've introduced a bunch already. I think 8. Yeah, their next one is going to be Demon Lord or Demon Spawn, sorry. So they've already done 8. But the first day is going to be Aislinn, Feina. So Feina here, she's actually used in some Trunda teams where she has some incredible buffs and stuff to put onto Trunda. She has 6 buffs by herself, which is kind of insane. I do have Feina on my second account. She's not really do anything crazy for me, like outside of obviously Trunda teams, but she is, you know, obviously very good for this faction if you need it. And then on day 1 again, lastly we have Falman here. He gets less damage the more turns all champions take before him, so 10% less per turn. Actually pretty interesting. I haven't seen him played in anything too crazy. I think mainly because Sacred Order is not too insane by itself. But yeah, Falman is still very good. So that's going to be on day 1. And then on day 2, it's actually going to be the one that I'm most interested in. We have the Ogren Tribes, faction unity guy, Vizog. Where am I losing my mind? Here he is. Oh my goodness. Vizog the Noxious. So basically, yeah, he's a great poisoner. He enables some pretty cool comps. Like I think he's pretty close to soloing Dragon 10 with kind of just the gear that I have on my account, not like insane, you know, crazy gear, crazy gear. But yeah, he is a poisoner and his poisons deal more damage and all that stuff. But yeah, he's a great champ. He can enable some stuff. I think he ignites as well. Please increase duration. And then, okay, so no igniting. Oh no, his A1 ignites, his A3 increases duration, and then his A2 places. And then his passive boosts the damage. It's actually a pretty cohesive kit. He's a good champion. After that, we have Bolint. Bolint's one of the most recent ones, I think, from the Skinwalkers. And you know, I play tested this guy. He's not bad. He's not bad. He looks, you know, he looks bad on kit. His kit doesn't look that great, but he's not bad. He has a 100% chance to stun. He has a decreased defense, and then he has a double hit decreased defense on a 3-turn, which is kind of interesting. But then his abilities get a lot better with, you know, obviously the faction with them, so he can remove the buffs, which is really good. So he can do strip and stun on a 3-turn cooldown. And then obviously a Terminator fill here. He's decent. He's not bad. But anyways, he's not going to be insane or anything, but he's a very decent faction unity champion. And then lastly, on day 2, we have the Lizardman Teax. And this guy is actually like insane. He's probably one of the best non-void legendary damage dealing champions, mainly because yes, he can deal insane damage by himself, but his A1 is absolutely nuts. When you pair him up with basically like your best damage dealer for Hydra, for example, if you pair him up with the best damage dealer in for Hydra that you basically have two of them, because his A1 sends in your highest crit damage champion, and that champion's damage is going to get buffed up for each debuff on the heads. Usually it's pretty standard to add debuffs to Hydra heads. So the champion that you send in, which has the highest crit damage, which is probably your strongest Hydra champion, is going to be doing significantly more damage. So Teax, I'm sure, is part of like many people's like, personal record Hydra team scores. I would love to have this guy. This guy's obviously very insane in arena as well. Once you mix him in with some more of his lizard buddies, because they become immune to sheep, which is great. So Ramantu is awesome. He also has, I believe, a block revive. Yes, he does have a block revive as well. And he ignores strength and ally protection and shield. And then he deals more damage for each debuff on each enemy on if he has 3 faction guardians. So this guy deals a ton of damage, and he can help boost your team's damage as well. So great champion. I would definitely, like, for myself personally, I'm probably going to go super hard for this guy. This guy is going to be on day 2 of the extra Sacred Shard event. So yeah, like I said, I'll probably be going pretty hard for this guy. I'm currently sitting at, I'll show you guys my mercy. I'm currently sitting at 13 Sacred Shards since my last legendary. So for me, I'm going to be pulling Sacred Shards until I get minimum the Thor pieces. I need 50 pieces from the Thor fusion part of the event. So I gotta pull Sacreds until at least then. And then I'm probably going to pull Sacreds until I pick up a legendary, which will be a double legendary. So that's going to happen. The rates won't be boosted. The rates will only be 6% chance. So if you look at the portal, the rates won't be any different from this. It's just going to be 6% chance as a legendary from a Sacred Shard. But there will be a 10x boost on those faction unity champions. And keep in mind that a 10x boost doesn't really give you that much. It gives you maybe like a 4.5% chance of picking up the desired legendary. So for example, if I was targeting the second event here, for example, with Vizog, Teax, and Bolin, it's going to be a 10x on each of them. So each one's going to get roughly about 4% chance to occur if you pull legendary. So together, you're looking at 12, 13, 14% to pull one of these 3 during this day. But if it's an extra legendary event, if I pull one, I'm going to get another one. So it's basically like, 2 shots. I got 2 shots, right? But it's still no guarantee, but it's still probably one of your better chances to get it from a Sacred Shard. Unfortunately, as of today, the calendar does not show any kind of further boost or anything like that for these champions. So there's no like progressive or anything like that. But at least we do have a Summon Rush event to go with it. So you're going to pick up some goodies along the way. Honestly, this was kind of one of the things I thought about when they released the fusion plan and they showed the 3rd Summon Rush. So considering that the Thor fusion mostly was pretty average in terms of difficulty, maybe even below average considering the champion chase was so cheap. The 3rd Summon Rush, I really thought they were going to make it super, super juicy, because I think most people would have completed most of the events leading up to the 3rd Summon Rush. And in this case, the 3rd Summon Rush is incredibly enticing and incredibly juicy, especially with the extra sacred event happening. Like, don't even talk about the faction unity stuff, faction unity champions. I know not everybody's going to care about those ones. Obviously, some whales will definitely really need those, because those champions are really good in Siege right now, because you have, for example, you have the special conditions for Siege mode, right? So then you can build special faction teams, for example, which would be very difficult to break if you don't have those specific faction unity champions sometimes. But yeah, it makes total sense for them to really jack up the last summon rush because most people would be done by now. But if the event is good enough, people will still participate and then basically just pick up extra fragments, which are kind of low end rewards, right? Because the fragments basically just go towards mauled here, basically, right? Which are pretty low end rewards, but of course there's some value in getting fragments towards mauled. Oh, by the way, mauled is probably the champion that is free to get that I'll probably never get. I'm at 29 out of 100 on her, and I don't know if I'll ever get her because I would only get her if I totally botch like multiple fusions, which I never do. And if I overshoot my my fragment pieces for her, which is it's not gonna happen for me. I'm probably never gonna get her, to be honest. We were talking about Cirsa the other day, and I would probably get Cirsa before I get mauled, to be honest. Anyway, guys, sorry for the segue there. But yeah, I'm sitting on 63 sacreds right now, and my hands are getting kind of loose. So I don't know if I'm gonna hold on to these for that event. I'm probably gonna max it out at least, and for sure I'm gonna pull for the 50 50 fragments for Thor, and I might go pretty deep for the Teax, because Teax is absolute game changer. Like I said, I have him on my second account, and yeah, he's like instantly a huge percentage of my damage, and definitely can be optimized even further. But yeah, I think in terms of overall efficiency, if you don't need this for the Thor fusion, I would highly recommend maybe skipping this, especially if your mercy is not high. So for me, 13, I'm at mercy. The next shard I pull, I get an additional 2% chance of pulling a legendary. So if your sacred shards are not hot, basically you're not gaining in percentage chance of pulling a legendary, I would definitely consider sitting this one out. This is if you have already finished the Thor fusion. If you are not close to mercy, I would definitely consider sitting this one out, just because, like I said, guys, we do have the Thor Titan event coming on the same day as this event, this Summon Rush event opening. So the Titan event is going to launch on the 17th. We're going to start seeing some events, and we definitely need to save those shards for Thor's soul. So I would definitely recommend you guys to highly consider not to pull if you guys already completed Thor and if you guys are low on your mercy. All right, it's good to save the shards just because we have a 2-week Titan event for Thor's soul, which would be very, very impactful for Thor, because like I said, Thor requires some accuracy as well to line his decreased speed, which is really, really strong. Of course, he doesn't need to, but it's always a nice boost. And of course, having a 4-star soul for him gives him extra crit damage as well. So it's just going to be a huge boost, very worthwhile to get. But Plarium's going to do everything they can to try to throw us off track. But I'll be here to analyze everything and make sure you guys stay on track if you guys are planning to go for the Thor Titan event. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. That's going to be it for the news drop for today. Have a great Monday. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are planning to do. Lots of interesting and hype stuff. For me, like I said, I'm going to be going for Teax, no doubt, especially since I need the last 50 fragments for Thor. And I'm probably going to go pretty deep until I maybe will max out the Summon Rush or something. But Teax, definitely a massive prize for me, especially with the resources that I have on hand. So I'll be ready for that. Anyways, guys, have a great day. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.